My name is Chloe, and I'm 32. For the last 5 years, I thought I had it all figured out. My husband Liam and I were carving out a beautiful life for ourselves in Denver. Both of us with demanding careers, both of us saving every spare penny for our dream home. We had a strong marriage, a comfortable life, and a roadmap for our future. That all changed with a phone call about his sister, Olivia, and a sudden financial catastrophe she was supposedly facing. Liam has always been fiercely protective of Olivia, so when he asked if we could help, I said yes without a second thought. How could I have known that one single act of generosity would unravel every belief I held about family, trust, and the people I thought I knew best? If you're watching this, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from, and if you've ever had that nagging feeling in your gut that something in your family just wasn't adding up, please drop a like and subscribe. To really understand what happened, you need to know a little about me and Liam. I've always been methodical with money. Growing up in a working-class family in Iowa, I learned the value of a dollar before I even had a bank account. My parents worked tirelessly to give us a good life, and I watched them budget down to the last cent for everything, from school supplies to Christmas presents. Those lessons burrowed deep and stayed with me. I studied finance in college, and after graduating, I secured a position as a financial analyst at a reputable firm right here in Denver. Numbers, for me, have a clarity that people often lack. They don't lie. They don't have hidden motives. They just are. They're predictable and honest in a way that people sometimes are not. Liam is my opposite in that regard. He's a marketing director at a tech startup, and his approach to spending has always been more spirited. He's generous to a fault, a trait that's especially pronounced when it comes to his family. He grew up in a household where money was the primary language of love and affection. His parents, Robert and Eleanor, never hesitated to buy their children anything their hearts desired, whether it was a necessity or a fleeting whim. When we got married 5 years ago, we found a middle ground for our financial differences. We kept our own separate accounts for personal spending, but contributed equally to a joint account for household bills and our long-term savings. We were doing well, socking away a decent amount each month toward our goal of buying a house and one day starting a family of our own. We weren't rich by any means, but we were secure, and our future felt solid. And then there was Olivia, Liam's younger sister. At 28, she was still, in her mother's words, finding her path. In the 4 years I'd known her, she had cycled through at least half a dozen jobs. She'd been a barista, a retail manager, an office receptionist, a professional dog walker, a freelance social media coordinator, and most recently, an assistant at a high-end real estate agency. None of these jobs ever lasted longer than a year. Yet despite this carousel of employment, Olivia always managed to live a life of surprising luxury. Her Instagram account was a meticulously curated gallery of extravagant brunches, designer fashion, and spontaneous weekend trips to places like Napa and Cabo. Every family get-together felt like a runway for her latest expensive acquisition. "Do you like my new bag?" she'd asked at our last Christmas dinner, showing off a purse I knew for a fact retailed for over $1,500. I know I shouldn't have, but I just totally deserved a treat after dealing with my nightmare of a boss. I would just smile and nod politely, while my analyst brain was furiously calculating how many hours at her supposed salary she would have needed to work to afford it. The math never, ever added up. The warning signs of her financial recklessness had been there for years. She was constantly borrowing money from her parents, always accompanied by some dramatic story about an unexpected car repair or a sudden rent increase, and always with a vague promise to pay it back soon. As far as I could tell, those repayments never happened. Liam's parents, however, seemed completely unbothered by it. "She's just figuring things out," Eleanor would say with a wave of her hand. "Once she settles into the right career, it will all click into place." I always did my best to remain a neutral party. She was his sister, not mine, and her financial habits didn't directly impact our household. I told myself that every family has its own unique dynamics, and it wasn't my place to impose my fiscally conservative views on them. But then came that Tuesday evening in May. Liam called me from his office, his voice tight with an anxiety I rarely heard. "We need to talk," he said. "It's about Olivia. She's in real trouble." A cold knot of dread formed in the pit of my stomach, but I pushed it down and assured him we'd handle it together. I had no idea that this was just the opening chapter of a saga that would test not just our savings, but the very integrity of our marriage. That night, Liam walked through the door with a storm cloud of worry etched onto his face. He barely managed a hello before he let his briefcase fall to the floor and sank onto our living room couch. I sat down next to him, placing a hand on his arm, waiting for him to speak. "Olivia called me at work this afternoon," he started, raking a hand through his hair. "She's in a massive financial bind, Chloe. She really needs our help." I took a slow, deep breath, consciously trying to keep an open mind. "Okay," I said calmly. "What kind of bind?" She co-signed a loan for her best friend, Jessica, about a year ago. It was for $20,000. Apparently, Jessica was making all the payments on time until about 4 months ago. Then she just vanished. Vanished? The word snagged in my throat. My analyst brain immediately started firing off red flags. "What do you mean, vanished?" She stopped answering Olivia's calls, her texts. Her social media profiles are all gone. Olivia even went to her apartment, and the building manager said she moved out in the middle of the night, left no forwarding address. He paused, his expression grim. Now the bank is coming after Olivia for the balance, $17,000. I tried to absorb the information objectively. Why on earth would Olivia co-sign a loan that large for a friend? That's an enormous risk for anyone to take. Liam let out a heavy sigh. They were roommates in college, best friends for a decade. Jessica supposedly needed the money for some urgent medical procedure that wasn't covered by her insurance. Olivia just wanted to help her. Something about the story felt thin, like a movie plot. But I kept my questions focused. Has Olivia filed a police report? If this Jessica person has genuinely disappeared, that sounds like a bigger issue than just a defaulted loan. "She hasn't had time to think about the police," Liam said, his voice becoming more urgent. "The bank is threatening to take legal action if she doesn't start making payments immediately. Her credit score is already plummeting, and she's terrified she'll get evicted if this mess shows up on a background check." "Okay," I said, trying to steer the conversation back to hard facts. "Do you have any of the loan documents? The original agreement, the payment history, any correspondence from the bank?" Liam shifted on the couch, looking uncomfortable. "Number. Olivia didn't send me anything. She just called me in a complete panic, sobbing, saying she had no one else to turn to. So, just to be clear," I said, choosing my words with extreme care, "all we have to go on is what Olivia told you over the phone." "Yes, but she's my sister, Chloe," he said, and I could hear the defensiveness creeping into his voice. Why would she lie to me about something like this? I knew this was delicate territory. I'm not saying she's lying, Liam. I'm just saying that for any major financial decision, I would want to see the paperwork. That would be true no matter who was asking. $17,000 is a huge chunk of our down payment fund. His expression hardened. "So, you don't trust my sister?" "That's not what I'm saying," I countered, trying to keep my own frustration in check. "This is a business transaction. It needs to be treated like one. There's no time for all that," he insisted, his volume rising. "If Olivia doesn't get a payment to them in the next few days, her credit will be destroyed, and she could get sued. She is family, Chloe. We have to help her." I could feel the argument slipping away from logic and into the murky waters of familial obligation. On one hand, I didn't want to be the cold, heartless sister-in-law. On the other, every financial instinct I possessed was screaming at me to hit the brakes. "What if we compromise?" I suggested, trying a different tack. "Instead of sending her the entire $17,000 right now, what if we send her $4,000? That would be more than enough to cover the immediate past due payments and keep the bank from taking action. It gives us time to get more information and figure out a sustainable plan. Liam seemed to deflate slightly, the tension leaving his shoulders. Okay, he said. That could work. $4,000 would at least get them off her back for a little while. And, I added, I'd like to meet with Olivia in person to go over everything. If we're going to be involved in this, we all need to be on the same page about the details, the expectations, and how she plans to handle the rest of it. Fine, Liam agreed, though the single word was laced with a tone that suggested he found my conditions tiresome and unnecessary. I'll tell her we'll wire the money tomorrow and that we all need to get together soon to talk it through. That night, long after Liam had fallen into a deep, untroubled sleep, I lay wide awake, staring at the shadows on the ceiling. I couldn't silence the alarm bells ringing in my head. Why would a person suddenly abandon their entire life over a loan they had been paying diligently for months? Why did Olivia have zero documentation for such a significant financial agreement? And why was Liam so fiercely resistant to asking even the most basic, reasonable questions? As a financial analyst, I'd seen firsthand how money could detonate families. I'd seen how blind trust, weaponized by obligation, could lead to financial ruin. But this felt like more than just money. This was about my marriage and the delicate ecosystem of trust and respect that we had built. I finally drifted off, telling myself I was just being overly cynical. Olivia was family, and family helps each other, right? I had no idea how profoundly that simple belief was about to be tested. The following morning, I initiated a $4,000 transfer to Olivia's bank account. In the memo line, I wrote a brief, supportive message. Here to help with the situation. Thinking of you and hope you're holding up. Love, Chloe and Liam. I fully expected an immediate reply. A text, a quick phone call, anything acknowledging the significant sum of money we had just sent her. But my phone remained stubbornly silent all day. That evening, I brought it up with Liam as he was plating our dinner. Have you heard from Olivia? She never responded about the transfer. He shrugged, his attention focused on dividing the salad. She's probably just overwhelmed with everything right now. I'll give her a call tomorrow if we haven't heard from her. $4,000 is a lot of money, Liam, I said gently. A simple thank you text takes 10 seconds. Not everyone is glued to their banking app like you are, he replied with a little laugh, but it felt more like a jab. She'll get in touch when she can. I decided to let it drop, not wanting to start another argument, but the silence gnawed at me. One day turned into two. By the end of the week, we still hadn't received a single word of acknowledgement from Olivia. I really think you need to call her, I told Liam that Friday night. This is starting to feel very strange. She's just stressed, Chloe, he insisted, his defensiveness flaring up again. She's probably just focused on sorting things out. I just nodded, but the knot in my stomach was tightening. Then, 2 days later, on a lazy Sunday afternoon, I was scrolling through Instagram. I came across a new post from Olivia. My thumb froze over the screen as my brain processed what I was seeing. It was a picture of a massive, glistening seafood tower at an upscale steakhouse in downtown Denver. The caption read, "Sunday fun day with the besties. Sometimes you just need to treat yourself." Blessed, the timestamp showed it was posted just a few hours earlier. That meal, for her and her friends, would have easily cost several $100s. My heart sinking, I kept scrolling through her feed and saw another photo posted the day before. Olivia was posing in front of a mirror showing off a brand new handbag, a designer piece I instantly recognized as costing close to $2,000. The caption was, "A little retail therapy after a stressful week. New bag. Who dis?" I took screenshots of both posts. When Liam got back from his run, I showed them to him. Does this look like the behavior of someone who is stressed out about a $17,000 debt? I asked, trying to keep my voice even. Liam glanced at the photos, a frown creasing his brow. The bag is probably a knockoff, and I'm sure one of her friends paid for the dinner. Liam, that purse is not a knockoff. Look at the stitching, the hardware, it's authentic. And even if someone else treated her to dinner, why is she out celebrating and buying luxury goods days after we had to send her $4,000 for an emergency? I don't know, Chloe, he said, his voice rising in frustration. Why are you so determined to believe the worst about my sister? I'm not trying to believe the worst, I shot back. I'm looking at the evidence she is putting right in front of me and asking logical questions. Liam turned and walked out of the room, slamming the door to the bathroom, which was his way of ending the conversation. But I wasn't finished. While he was in the shower, I started my own quiet investigation. I searched for Jessica Miller on every social media platform I could think of, trying different spellings and searching for any mutual connections with Olivia. I found nothing. I went through Olivia's entire friend list on Facebook and Instagram, scrolling through thousands of profiles. No Jessica. When Liam came out, a towel wrapped around his waist, I tried a new angle. Tell me more about this Jessica, I said casually. Have you ever met her? He paused, drying his hair. No, I haven't. Olivia went to college out in California, remember? I only ever saw her on holidays. But they've been best friends for a decade, right? Surely she must have visited Olivia here in Denver at some point, or been mentioned at family dinners. Liam's brow furrowed. I don't know, Chloe. I guess Olivia doesn't talk about her that much. Don't you find that strange? I pressed. That she never once mentioned her supposed best friend to her own family, then co-signed a massive loan for her, and now this person has vanished off the face of the earth? What exactly are you suggesting? Liam asked, his voice turning cold. I'm not suggesting anything, I said, my own frustration boiling over. I'm just trying to understand what is really going on before we even think about sending her another $13,000. The air between us was thick with tension for the next few days. Minor disagreements turned into full-blown fights. He accused me of being suspicious and distrustful of his family. I accused him of being willfully blind to a situation that was screaming with red flags. By the end of the week, I knew what I had to do. If Liam wouldn't ask the hard questions, I would. I waited until he left for a Saturday morning bike ride with his friends. Then I picked up my phone and dialed Olivia's number. I need to know the truth, I whispered to myself as the phone began to ring. For all our sakes. I had steeled myself for this call, even scribbling down a list of questions I needed to ask. My heart was hammering against my ribs as the phone rang once, twice, 3 times. No answer. I waited for 15 agonizing minutes and then tried again. This time, she picked up on the 4th ring. Hello? Her voice was bright but held a note of surprise, maybe even caution. Hi, Olivia, it's Chloe, I said, forcing my tone to be light and friendly. How are you holding up? Oh, hi, I'm okay. Just, busy with work and stuff. Is everything all right? Is Liam okay? Liam's fine. He's out on a bike ride. I just wanted to check in on you personally. We've both been worried. That's really nice of you, she said, her words a little too fast. I'm managing. It's been super stressful, but I'm dealing with it. I took a breath. We sent you the $4,000 last week. I just wanted to confirm you got it and see how things were progressing with the bank. There was a distinct pause. Oh, right. Yes, I got it. Thank you so much. It was a huge help. Things are still really complicated, though. I can only imagine, I said. Would you mind if I asked a few questions about what happened? Liam and I really want to help, but it would be useful to understand the whole picture. Sure. I guess, she replied, her voice now laced with reluctance. Could you tell me Jessica's full name and where she lived before she left? Another hesitation. Jessica Thompson. She was living over in the Highlands before she took off. And what did she do for a living? She worked at a marketing firm, Olivia said quickly. No, wait, actually, it was a restaurant. She was trying to get into marketing, but was waitressing to pay the bills. The blatant inconsistency sent a chill down my spine. Which restaurant? One of those places downtown. I can't remember the name right now. I decided to pivot. Olivia, I saw your Instagram posts from this weekend. That dinner looked incredible, and your new purse is gorgeous. Is that a Chloe bag? The silence on the other end of the line was deafening. "Oh," she finally said, her voice strained. "My friend treated me to dinner because I've been so stressed." And the bag? It was a gift. A $2,000 gift? Right after you needed to borrow $4,000 from us for an emergency debt? Her voice suddenly hardened. "What I do with my time is my business, Chloe. Liam understands what I'm going through. Does he?" I pressed, my patience gone. "Because we sent you that money to help you with a crisis, and a few days later you're posting about high-end restaurants and luxury shopping. It doesn't make any sense, Olivia. You're not my mother," she snapped. "I don't have to justify my life to you." I took one last deep breath and decided to go for broke. "Olivia, is there really a Jessica? Did you actually co-sign a loan that went bad, or are you using our money for something else entirely?" The line went dead silent. It was so quiet I actually pulled the phone away from my ear to check if the call had dropped. Then I heard it, a small muffled sob. "Olivia?" I prompted softly. "There's no Jessica," she finally whispered, her voice cracking. I made her up. I sank onto the edge of our bed, a wave of vertigo washing over me. "You made her up? So there's no co-signed loan?" "No," she admitted, now openly crying. "I took out the loan myself. I've been having some problems with money. I needed to pay off some things, and I knew Liam would help if I asked, but I didn't want him to know how bad it was." "What kind of problems?" I asked, though a sick feeling in my gut told me I already knew the answer. "I shop when I'm anxious." Her words started tumbling out in a rush, and I started gambling online during the pandemic. It was just for fun at first, but then I started losing, and I kept thinking I could just win it all back. The loan was supposed to consolidate my credit card debt, but then I used some of it to try and gamble my way out, and it all got so much worse. I tried to process the sheer scale of the deception. "How much do you actually owe, Olivia?" She hesitated. "It's more than just that one loan. I have a few maxed out credit cards. I owe money to some friends. I also told Mom and Dad I needed money for GRE prep courses last year, but that wasn't true either. Does anyone else in the family know about this?" I asked. "No," she said quickly, "and you can't tell them, especially not Liam. He's always seen me as the fun, successful one. If he finds out I've been lying to everyone." "Olivia, I can't keep this from my husband. We sent you money based on a complete fabrication. Please, Chloe." Her voice shifted, becoming desperate and sharp. "If you tell Liam, I'll just say you misunderstood me. I'll tell him you're making this up because you've always been jealous of my relationship with him. I felt like I had been physically slapped." "Are you threatening me?" "I'm just telling you what will happen," she said, her voice now cold and calculating. "Who do you think he's going to believe? His wife of 5 years, or the sister he's known his entire life?" Before I could even form a response, the line went dead. She had hung up on me. I sat there, frozen, the phone still pressed to my ear, feeling as though the floor had vanished beneath me. My sister-in-law hadn't just deceived us. She had just threatened to blow up my marriage if I dared to expose her. The sound of the garage door opening below sent a jolt of adrenaline through me. Liam was home, hours earlier than I expected. I had minutes, maybe seconds, to decide what to do with the toxic truth I was holding. My hands were trembling as I heard Liam's footsteps on the stairs. I took a series of shaky breaths, trying to quiet my racing heart and form a coherent thought. How do you tell your husband that his beloved sister is a compulsive liar and a manipulator? "Chloe?" Liam called as he walked into our bedroom. His cheerful post-ride expression dissolved the moment he saw my face. "What's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." "We need to talk," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "It's about Olivia." Liam put his gear down and sat on the bed next to me. "What about her? Did something happen?" "I called her while you were out," I began, watching his expression morph from concern to irritation. "You went behind my back?" he asked, a sharp edge to his voice. I needed answers, Liam. The story wasn't adding up and you weren't willing to ask the questions. "So what answers did you need so badly you couldn't wait for me?" he asked, his arms now crossed defensively over his chest. I took another deep breath. I talked to her about the loan, about Jessica. His posture stiffened. "There is no Jessica, Liam. There never was." Olivia made the whole thing up. He just stared at me, his face a mask of disbelief. "What are you talking about? Why would she make up a person?" "Because she needed the money, but not for the reason she told you. She took out the loan for herself. She has a gambling problem and a shopping addiction. That's where our $4,000 went, not to some bank." Liam shot up from the bed. "This is insane. Are you seriously telling me my sister is some kind of scam artist based on one phone call?" "I'm telling you what she told me herself," I insisted. "She admitted everything." "No," he said, shaking his head firmly. "You must have misunderstood her, or she was making a sick joke and you took it seriously. Olivia would not lie like that." "She wasn't joking, Liam, and I didn't misunderstand. She confessed, and then she threatened me. She said if I told you, she would claim I was making it all up because I'm jealous of her." "Well, maybe she had a reason to think that," he shot back. "You've always been so critical of her, always judging her choices, her lifestyle." His words stung, but I refused to be sidetracked. "This isn't about me. This is about her lying to us for money." "Look at her Instagram again," I said, pulling up the screenshots. "She's using our money for luxury splurges while claiming to be on the brink of financial ruin. How do you explain that?" "Social media isn't real life, Chloe. People post whatever they want." "Then explain why she couldn't tell me where her supposed best friend worked, why she changed her story mid-sentence, why she hung up on me the second I called her out." He paced the room, running his hands through his hair. "I don't know. Maybe you were interrogating her like a criminal and she got flustered. I realized then that we were at an impasse." He was too deep in denial to see the truth. I needed undeniable proof. "I recorded the conversation," I said quietly. His head snapped toward me. "You what?" "I had a feeling she might not be telling the truth, so I recorded the call. I know it sounds awful, but I needed to protect myself. I needed proof of what she said." "I can't believe you did that," Liam said, his voice low with fury. "That's my sister, Chloe, my family. I'm your family too," I said, my voice pleading. "Please, just listen to the recording before you decide I'm the villain here." He sat down reluctantly as I found the audio file on my phone and hit play. I watched his face as he listened to Olivia's voice fill the room, her confession, her crying, and finally, her cold, calculated threat. I saw the exact moment his disbelief crumbled, replaced by shock, then hurt, and finally a deep, simmering anger. When the recording finished, Liam sat in stunned silence, his head in his hands. "I need to call her," he finally said. "Are you sure that's a good idea right now? You're upset. I need to hear her say it to me," he insisted, already dialing her number. Olivia answered, her voice apparently cheerful until Liam spoke. I could only hear his side of the conversation, but it was more than enough. "Stop lying, Olivia," he said, his voice firm but shaking. "I heard the recording. I know there's no Jessica. I know about the gambling, the shopping. I know you lied to us." There was a long pause as she presumably tried to deny it. "That's not an excuse," he finally exploded. "We all have stress. We all have problems. We don't all invent elaborate lies to take money from our family." Another pause. "No, Olivia, this isn't something we can just move past. You need professional help, and you need to pay back the money you took from us, and from Mom and Dad too, apparently." The call went on for several more minutes, a painful exchange that ended with Liam looking utterly devastated. "She admitted all of it," he said quietly, hanging up. "She has a serious gambling problem. She's in debt to so many people. She's been lying to all of us for years." I reached for his hand, but he pulled away. "I just need some time," he said, standing up. "I'm going for a drive. Liam, please, let's talk about this." "Not right now, Chloe. I can't believe she would do this, and I can't believe I didn't see it." After he left, I sat alone in our quiet bedroom, the weight of the entire situation crashing down on me. I had found the truth, but what was the cost? My husband was shattered, his family was in turmoil, and our marriage felt like it was fracturing. I packed an overnight bag and called my best friend, Maya. "Can I come stay with you for a couple of days?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Liam and we need some space." When Liam got home hours later, the house was dark. I told him my decision. "I think we both need some time to process everything. I'll be at Maya's if you need me." He just nodded, his face still pale with shock. "I understand," he said. "I need time too." As I drove through the city lights toward Maya's apartment, tears streamed down my face. I had done the right thing. I knew I had, but it felt like I had detonated a bomb in the middle of our lives. I had no idea if our marriage would survive the fallout, or if Olivia's web of deceit had created a chasm too wide to cross. "She actually threatened to turn Liam against you?" Maya asked, handing me a mug of hot tea as I sat curled up on her sofa. "That is next-level manipulation." I nodded, wiping at a fresh wave of tears. "I know he loves me, but Olivia is his little sister. He's been protecting her for 34 years. That bond is powerful." "But you have proof," Maya pointed out. "The recording. He can't deny what he heard." "This isn't just about being right anymore," I said, shaking my head. "This is about our marriage, our foundation." He was so quick to believe I was being jealous or petty, instead of even considering that his sister might be the one in the wrong. That's a huge crack in our trust. "Give him time," she advised. "This is a massive shock. He's probably wrestling with a lot of guilt for not seeing the signs himself." Over the next few days, I tried to lose myself in my work, giving Liam the space he'd asked for, but my mind kept circling back to Olivia. If she truly had a gambling addiction, simply being angry at her was pointless. Giving her more money would be like handing a bottle to an alcoholic. It would only enable her to dig a deeper hole. I started using my lunch breaks to research compulsive gambling. I read articles, forums, and testimonials from families. The more I learned, the more the pieces of Olivia's life clicked into place. Her constant job hopping, her inconsistent stories, her desperate need for a glamorous facade. It was a textbook case. My investigation didn't end there. 3 days after I moved into Maya's, I got a text from Sarah, a mutual friend who was a bridesmaid at our wedding. "Heard you and Liam are going through a rough patch. Is everything okay?" I was stunned. We hadn't told a soul besides Maya. "Who told you that?" I texted back. "Olivia mentioned something," came the reply. "Said you two were fighting about money." I called Sarah immediately. Her story added another layer to the deception. "I probably should have told you this sooner," Sarah admitted, "but Olivia borrowed $2,000 from me last year. Said she needed it for a security deposit on a new apartment after her roommate skipped out on her. She swore she'd pay me back in a month, but I haven't seen a dime." "Did she happen to mention her roommate's name?" I asked. "Yeah, she said her name was Rachel, but I never met her. Come to think of it, I'm not sure Olivia ever actually had a roommate. Another lie, another fictional person. How deep did this rabbit hole go?" With Sarah's blessing, I decided to call Eleanor, Liam's mother. I carefully framed my questions, not wanting to sound accusatory. "Eleanor, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm worried about Olivia. Has she asked you and Robert for financial help recently?" Eleanor's long sigh told me everything. "Many times, dear, and we've always tried to help. She's our daughter." "May I ask what reasons she's given?" "Oh, all sorts of things over the years. Car repairs, unexpected medical bills. Most recently, it was for graduate school applications and prep courses. It must have been close to $10,000 in the last year alone." My heart sank. "Did she ever show you any documentation? Receipts for the courses? Acceptance letters from programs?" There was a long pause. "No, I suppose she didn't. Robert and I just took her at her word." "Are you suggesting she wasn't being truthful?" "I think Olivia might be struggling with something that money can't fix," I said gently. "Has she ever mentioned gambling?" Another pause, this one heavy with dawning realization. "Now that you mention it," she got very into online poker during the lockdowns. Robert thought it was just a phase, but she does always seem to have new things despite complaining about being broke. By the end of our call, Eleanor was asking her own questions, finally connecting the dots. I promised to keep her in the loop and strongly suggested they stop giving Olivia money until we understood the full picture. That evening, I called a gambling addiction hotline. The specialist I spoke with was compassionate but direct. Family members often become unintentional enablers, she explained. By repeatedly bailing the person out, you remove the consequences and make it easier for them to continue the behavior. So what can we do? I asked, desperation in my voice. A structured family intervention is often the most effective first step, she said. Gather everyone who has been directly affected. Present the evidence of the behavior, not as an attack, but as an expression of concern. Offer a clear path to treatment, but also establish firm boundaries. Make it clear that all financial support will be cut off unless she agrees to get professional help. Armed with this advice and the mountain of evidence I'd collected, I drafted a plan. We needed to get Liam and his parents on board, confront Olivia as a united front, and have treatment options ready. If she refused, we had to be prepared to follow through on our ultimatum. On the 5th day of our separation, Liam called. His voice was quiet, tired, but clear. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Of course," I replied, relief washing over me. We met at a quiet cafe, a neutral space. He looked exhausted. "I owe you an apology," he said as soon as we sat down. "You were right about Olivia. I should have trusted you. I should have been your partner instead of just her brother." "I understand why you didn't want to believe it," I said, reaching for his hand. "She's your sister." "But you're my wife," he said, gripping my hand tightly. Our partnership should have come first. I told him everything I had learned about the addiction, the call with Sarah, the $10,000 from his parents for a non-existent grad school application. He closed his eyes, absorbing the sheer scale of it. "How did I miss all this?" he whispered. "Addiction makes people brilliant liars," I said. "This isn't your fault." I shared the intervention plan, and to my immense relief, he agreed immediately. "You're right. Giving her more money is just feeding the disease. We have to help her the right way, even if it's the hard way." We spent the next 2 hours mapping it out. Liam would talk to his parents. I would compile all the evidence. We would research treatment centers. "I miss you," Liam said as we got up to leave. "Will you come home?" I nodded, the knot of anxiety that had been lodged in my chest for a week finally starting to loosen. "Yes," I said. "We're going to face this together." Driving home, I felt like our marriage had just survived a Category 5 hurricane. We had been pushed to the brink, but we were finding our way back, stronger and more committed than before. The road ahead was going to be messy, but at least we would be on it together. The intervention was set for Saturday at Robert and Eleanor's house. The atmosphere was thick with a mixture of grief, anger, and dread. Eleanor kept dabbing at her eyes with a tissue, while Robert paced the living room like a caged animal. "Are we sure about this?" Eleanor asked, her voice trembling. "It feels so cruel." "It's not about being cruel," I said gently. "It's about showing her we love her enough to stop participating in her self-destruction. It's about helping her get the support she actually needs." Olivia arrived 20 minutes late, looking impeccably styled as always, a new leather jacket draped over her shoulders. "What's going on?" she asked, her eyes darting between our solemn faces. "Is this some kind of ambush?" "Please sit down, Olivia," Robert said, his voice firm, gesturing to the empty chair we had placed in the center of the room. Her breezy demeanor evaporated as she cautiously took her seat, clutching her expensive purse on her lap like a shield. I had been chosen to lead the discussion, being the most emotionally detached and the one with all the facts. Taking a deep breath, I began. "Olivia, we've asked you here today because we are all incredibly worried about you. We all love you, and because we love you, we can no longer ignore what's been happening." "What are you talking about?" she asked, already on the defensive. As calmly and factually as I could, I laid it all out. The made-up story about Jessica, The loan she took out for herself, the online gambling that had spiraled, the pattern of borrowing money under false pretenses from everyone in the room and beyond, the lies about grad school, roommates, and every other fictional crisis. As I spoke, her expression shifted from defiance to indignation to outright fury. "This is ridiculous," she exploded when I finished. "You're all ganging up on me. So I borrowed some money. Big deal. It doesn't mean I have a problem." Liam leaned forward. "Olivia, we have evidence. We know about the gambling sites. We know about the shopping. We know you've been lying to all of us. Evidence?" "What evidence?" she challenged. Without a word, I pressed play on my phone. The sound of her own voice filled the room. Her confession about Jessica, her admission about the gambling, and finally her threat to me. The color drained from her face. When the recording ended, she looked cornered. "You recorded me?" she whispered, looking at me with pure betrayal. "Is that even legal?" "This isn't about legality, Olivia," Robert interjected, his voice heavy with sadness. "This is about the fact that you have been systematically manipulating and lying to your entire family to fund an addiction." "It's not like that," she protested weakly. "Then what is it like?" Eleanor asked, tears now streaming down her face. "Because from where we're sitting, it looks like you've been taking advantage of our love for years." Faced with our united front and the undeniable proof of her own words, Olivia finally broke. Her carefully constructed facade shattered, and she crumpled into sobs. "It started so small," she cried. "Just a few games online when I was bored and lonely. Then I had a few big wins, and it felt so good. But then I started losing, and I kept thinking I just needed one more win to fix everything." Through her tears, she confessed the true scope of the problem. She was nearly $60,000 in debt to banks, credit card companies, payday lenders, and friends. She had been juggling payments, taking out new debt to service old debt, all while chasing a jackpot that never came. "I'm so ashamed," she whispered, looking smaller and more fragile than I had ever seen her. "I thought I could handle it. I thought I could win it all back before anyone found out." Robert, who had been silent for a long time, finally spoke. "Why didn't you just ask for help? Not for money, but for help with the problem?" "I was too embarrassed," she mumbled. "Everyone saw me as the fun one, the one with the perfect life." I couldn't admit it was all falling apart. This was our opening. I gently passed her a brochure we had printed. "There's a residential treatment program for gambling addiction just outside the city," I explained. "It's a 30-day inpatient program with long-term outpatient support. They can help you with the addiction and the underlying issues. They also have financial counselors," Liam added, "to help you make a realistic plan to tackle your debt." Olivia stared at the brochure. "I can't afford this. I can barely make my rent. We will help with the cost of the treatment," Eleanor said firmly. "But that is the last dollar you will get from us. No more loans, no more bailouts. Not until you complete this program and show us you're committed to changing. And we expect you to start paying back what you owe," Robert added. "It can be small amounts over many years, but there must be accountability." Olivia looked trapped. "And what if I say no?" Liam's voice was gentle, but absolute. "Then we have to stop enabling you. The money stops. The rescues stop. And we would have to consider our legal options to recover the money you took from us under false pretenses. We don't want to do that, Olivia. We want to help you get better. But you have to want it too." The room was silent. For a long, terrifying moment, I thought she would bolt. But then, almost imperceptibly, she nodded. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll go." The collective sigh of relief was almost a sound. Eleanor rushed to hug her daughter. Matthew squeezed my hand. "Chloe figured this out when the rest of us were blind," he said to his sister. "She found the solution when we couldn't even see the problem. I hope someday you can thank her for that." Olivia looked at me, really looked at me. "I'm sorry for what I said on the phone," she said quietly, "about turning Liam against you. That was the addiction talking. The part of me that would say anything to keep the secret. I understand," I told her, and I meant it. 6 months later, Amanda has completed the 30-day program and continues with outpatient therapy. She has a steady job and has been sending us small, consistent payments each month. Our relationship is still a work in progress, but we see her trying, and that means everything. This crisis, as awful as it was, forged our marriage into something stronger. We learned to trust each other's instincts and to set firm, healthy boundaries, even with the people we love most. We may never get all the money back, but we saved a person. We chose the hard, messy path of truth over the easy path of enabling. It was painful, and it almost broke us. But in the end, it was the right choice. Sometimes, true love isn't about giving someone what they want. It's about having the courage to give them what they need. Have you ever had to confront a difficult truth in your own family? How did you navigate it? I'd love to read your stories in the comments. And if this story resonated with you, please give it a like and subscribe. And maybe share it with someone who needs to hear that setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's often the most loving thing you can do. Thank you for listening. And remember, healing always begins with the truth. End of story.